Hey, good morning, everybody. Bitcoin Steven here with the BTC Guru. How we
Hello,
doing today?
hello.
Huh?
I said hello. Did you hear
Hey,
me?
what's happening? It's good, pretty cool, man. You pick up your electronic news and like every other article in there, some sort about some sort of digital currency or something
Oh,
else going on,
absolutely.
isn't it? It's just
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. Dogecoin is all over the place as because they got a couple of great hype men. Uh, there's actually it's a funny thing because there's another meme coin, and I just read this right before you and I popped on, so I'll have to tell you guys tomorrow what the actual ticker is. But it has actually better fundamentals, and it's starting to pick up steam too because of Dogecoin. So there's going to be positive aspects of these crazy nothing behind the scenes coins that get some groundswells, and interest
Yeah,
is something, and
yeah, it's just
the respect.
another meme coin, right? I think I was seeing something about that
Yeah,
earlier.
yeah, it's another meme coin, and I forget the name of
Shiba,
it.
Shiba Inu.
Yeah, yeah, okay, that sounds about right.
Yeah, Shiba Inu.
And another great thing is the country of Hungary. They just announced they're lowering their income tax by 50% on all crypto gains. So it was 30%, and now it's going to be 15%. Which I think that's a trend that I think we're going to see because I think countries are going to have to do it.
Well, because they're
Otherwise,
gonna, you're gonna, they're gonna try and give you some sort of incentive to self-report because it's really gonna be, unless you're like at a coin desk or something like that, it's pretty hard to figure that stuff out, right?
yeah, it is. And as we've been talking about, there's trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars moving into cryptocurrency and blockchain. So if a country wants a piece of that, they got to start making themselves attractive to that audience. And to be attractive to that audience, lowering tax is one way to be extremely attractive to that audience. So I think these are good trends out there. There's always the naysayers and the negative things that come out, in countries that are going to try to suppress it, but it's not going to work.
Yeah, no, they
You
can't.
can't
They
suppress
can't.
something that you can't touch.
The bullet's out of the gun. The
Yeah,
bullet left the chamber.
it's like walking through a swarm of locusts and trying to kill them all. You might get one or two, but you're not going to get them all. It's virtually impossible. And another interesting headline today too was eBay it announced that they're a little late to the game, but they're actually coming out at I believe, the right angle for eBay, as they want to be the marketplace for NFTs, which are NFT stands for non-fungible token, and in a layman's term, it's basically a token that represents a digital item, like a piece of artwork or music, or could be a clip, and a YouTube clip. It could
So an
be
example, an
anything, but
example. Let's say that we had a sports guy and he was like somebody was like signing autographed type things or something along those lines. Would an NFT would that be like the original?
yeah, and that's kind of what eBay is. Their slant on it is they want to be the blockchain that authenticates this type of stuff, autographs, all this stuff. All
It's
this could
right
be
up
lumped
their
into
alley.
these
That's right up
NFTs.
their alley. eBay, right? That's
Yeah,
totally.
it's perfect. It's actually a great strategy for them, and they are coming late to the game. So not really late. It's just starting anyway, but later than other large companies like PayPal. PayPal was started taking Bitcoin a while ago.
Well, the other, yeah, it's like those things like the NFTs. It's kind of like if you had an old Honus Wagner, baseball card that was worth like $1 million, and I mean, if somebody spills their coffee on it, you're kind of screwed, right? But
Yeah,
if you have that in an NFT, and and it's
yeah.
digital.
You can digitize it, and then it can also be linked to the physical item. That these NFTs are going to, in my belief, are going to grow to include almost anything and everything. It could be a trademark. It could be a piece of real estate. It could be it could be an idea. It's really cool. What I love about it is it just opens the horizons to anything that any critical thinking person can come up with, and we're going to see some amazing things come up in these next 6 months to a year to 5 years, especially in this NFT world. There's another a token. It's called Helium. I think they just renamed it to Protocol, but the original name was Helium, and they're trying to create what's called a mesh network Mesh network is just two, routers talking to each other, and through this mesh of all these jumps through the routers, you can transfer information like it's kind of like the internet, but it's peer to peer to peer to peer all over the place. And so the Helium group they allow you to buy their router, and then all the IoT, Internet of Things, like refrigerators, TVs, whatever, all the things.
The smart things, right?
The smart things. They give the opportunity to run and earn on this network, and if you have a router on this network, you also get a little piece of the action. So this is kind of the future of what this industry is going. I mean, the future is extremely bright, and whatever you're interested in. If you're just interested in parking money, Bitcoin is the digital gold. Park money, that would be, I think personally, a smart thing to do. Not recommending or giving investment advice or anything. If you love technical stuff, you can create your own blockchain in smart contract and do whatever you want. If you love the music industry and you want to automate royalties, what Cubans are talking about, you can do that. If you love this Internet of Things and how everything can be tied together and be smart, and you can jump into that world. I mean, right now it's the sky's the limit, and it's extremely exciting times for any entrepreneur or anybody who has any crazy ideas. You could jump in, and when the interface to program smart contracts gets easier, which will be this year, I believe.
Yeah.
Where it's just point and click, and you're building your contract, and then behind the scenes it codes it for you. Then we're going to see some really cool stuff popping up.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see that. Now, are NFTs going to be able to, help deal with some of the challenges they have, like in the real art world, with like famous paintings and things like that?
I think so. I think you could tie it. Well, you could if anything has a fingerprint, you could tie it to an NFT. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's a way to authenticate a physical item, then you could tie it that. Now, I think RFIDs are going to come into play. This is my personal opinion. I'm not just based on my research and me thinking about it. But you could put a little RFID chip on anything and embed it in there and tie that to an NFT, and then they're linked forever. And so once it's authenticated, you just scan, boom, yep, that's the real one. It's authenticated by the blockchain. That's the beautiful thing about blockchain is the authentication process can't be messed with. Once it's verified, you can't change that.
Well, the information marketers, a lot of information marketers out there, they're already selling digital products and been doing that on the internet. And, one of the biggest challenges that you have on that is, when you have something really good, it's really easy for somebody to come out and just totally duplicate and knock off.
Right.
And the blockchain is going to help with a lot of that. But, as we've talked about before, I think one of the really big things here that's really going to be getting people is that, in the information sector, I mean, you get a very high percentage of, chargebacks and, that kind of thing. And you high credit card fees and things like that. So, I mean, when you think about all the people that are already doing things, in the digital world, once they, get driven into this spot and they understand the fact of when you can put this onto the blockchain and you can do this like this, you talk about, you can create a product that you and your family can get paid on for the rest of your lives because, if people keep buying it, you'll just keep getting paid.
Yep. And the luxury goods makers are loving this now because, the knockoffs like in Louis Vuitton and, all that whole Rolex and that whole world, they're going to be able to authenticate. You're going to be able to scan a bag and it's going to tell you exactly if it's real or not and where it came from. And they're going to love it because it's going to basically kill that duplicate fake bag fraud marketplace.
Yeah, but think about, a lot of these, the product launches and things like that go off all the time, right? And the affiliate marketing, okay? One of the challenges or one of the things that's kind of frustrating, I guess, for a lot of people in the affiliate space sometimes is, you go out and you have this big launch to go off and you email out to your list and a whole bunch of people buy, but you've got like a 30 or 60 day waiting period because of the cancellations and the guarantees and that kind of stuff. And, then you find out that, God, you just didn't make near as much money as you thought. I mean, could you imagine doing a launch? I mean, like Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, and Russell Brunson did this big giant thing with their KBB Masterminds launch, right? Mm-hmm. They did $15 million in
Wow.
20 days. Okay.
Wow.
And it was pretty much all driven through affiliates. But could you imagine what that would be like to be the affiliates and to have this thing being, all these transactions being done in smart contracts, and you're just getting paid in Bitcoin as deals happen? Boom, 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 boom. I mean, the guys typically, they're always going to refreshing their screens are the guys that are putting on the launch, right?
Right.
Trying to see, wow, what's hitting this and what's hitting this. I mean, it's just going to be unbelievable, because, like I said, most of the time, you're working now and then you get paid, 30, 45, 60 days, whatever it is down the road. But when you can eliminate the fact of, chargebacks and the credit card things and stuff like that, and you can get it all done on smart contracts, man, people they get paid instantly. And boy, talk about some momentum that'll create.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's going to change that whole affiliate market and referral market. It's going to really accelerate it. And it's actually going to put everybody kind of on a level playing field of like Amazon. Amazon's kind of the king of the hill of affiliate marketing, and they could make you or break you. I mean, you could be killing it there, and they're going to like, I don't want you killing it anymore, and they could just cut you off, and that's not good. That's not free marketplace. I don't like that. And so that's the equalizer of the blockchain, is the ability to let you and I compete at the same level as the biggies out there. They may have more advertising costs, but we got more creative ways to talk to the people. So it's almost a wash there.
Well, think about it. I mean, you could literally have, once big companies and things are getting like on the blockchain, an Apple as an example, if they were in the blockchain and all of their employees and all their products and everything's all there on the blockchain, people might not have to wait 2 weeks to get paid anymore.
Yeah.
People might be able to get, I guess depends upon the business on how often they'd want to settle with things, but it's like, that just those different time waits that we don't have to wait anymore. I mean, how amazing is that to be able to, I don't know if you've ever had to deal with this, but one of the challenges that we deal with a lot of times in the internet marketing space, you want to go out and do a big giant launch, right?
And your success kills you.
Yeah, your success kills you because you go out and you find a bunch of affiliates and you go out there and you drive a whole bunch of traffic, you get a whole bunch of stuff. And even if you call them and tell them before, hey, we're going to have an enormous amount of traffic and money start to come through here, be prepared. What else do I need to do? Whatever, no matter what you tell them, 9 times out of 10, you're going to find out that, wow, that merchant account just got slammed. Okay. They're going to hold your money for 6 months now. Yep. And wait, because you had too much success, and it just kills you.
That exact thing happened to me. I told the story a little while ago. They do a rolling 6-month hold, and it just destroys you. You still got to pay your vendors. They don't have to pay
all your stuff, and it's like you think you did this launch and you did a really great job, and now you got your dick in the dirt because you didn't get paid. It's like just you're like, oh my god, and a lot of people just don't realize that. And a lot of times, I mean, I've found myself frustrated at times with, wanting to do some big launches and go, well, maybe we should kind of scale this back. Because if it hits the way we think, we're never going to, how are we even going to get our money?
You're absolutely right. They control you.
Yeah, they totally control you. I mean, you go out and you do something that's good and you can go make, $100,000 in a short amount of time. But it's like, then the bank's like, I think we're going to hold on to your money for 6 months.
And that's where we talk about Bitcoin and blockchain as a network. And that's what we're talking about here, is that this network is a replacement for the existing financial network, which is slow, cumbersome, and controlled. The Bitcoin and blockchain network is not slow and cumbersome. It's very, very fast. It may get congested here and there, but still, it's minutes and hours compared to days, weeks, and months. And if somebody in Germany buys my service and I'm here in California, they could pay instantly, and because my service is information, I could deliver instantly, and that and there's no middleman in that process, and everybody's happy. It's a beautiful thing.
Well, think about all the your payroll companies out there, your big ADPs and all these some of the other these big giant companies out there, right? They make a ton of money just off doing the payroll kind of things. Literally, when companies get this stuff together, they'll be able to do these smart contracts, and the employees will get paid, the IRS will get all their money, everybody's going to go to all their stuff, all their money, except wait a minute, what about the payroll companies? They're going to be they're going to be disrupted. Okay, they will be.
Yes, they are.
They will be disrupted along with, accounting departments and. I mean, when you just kind of look and think about all the different far-reaching effects it can have on big companies, I mean, the amount of money that they're going to save is just going to be astronomical, and the chances for fraud and the chances for rogue employees getting you in trouble and stuff like that is just going to really diminish quite a bit, don't you think?
Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah, I read another article. I don't know who was written by, but it was like, one of the problems with the Bitcoin network is it's not secretive enough. It's not private enough. And I'm like, okay, yeah, no, but that's a good thing. Transparency is a good thing in this marketplace. If we had transparency a few years ago, I don't think all those banks would be too big to fail, and we wouldn't have that problem. We would be able to see what's going on way before this and see the fraud that's happening and be able to stop it a lot faster. So to me, in large corporations that are moving books around, Bernie Madoff, who got audited twice and passed,
right?
And, if we had transparency like we do with the blockchain, I don't think that would happen. So, to me, this is an answer to a lot of the questions that we as sovereign individuals who have enable rights to be able to live here on Earth peacefully with others. And not have so much control over us. This is how it's done.
Yeah,
I read another article that says if God was going to make a currency, Bitcoin's the currency.
Yeah, it's just amazing all the different angles out there that are so beneficial, with this. Everybody, the governments want to get you to digital currency. They want to have their own currency, but the Bitcoin, I think one of the things I was thinking about is, Bitcoin used to have this negative reputation when, like Silk Road, and people are thinking that it's used for all these bad things. And I think years ago, a lot of people thought, wow, God, if I use this and I do this in Bitcoin, I can get away with it. Okay. And maybe they did for a little while until the feds figured out how this whole blockchain thing works, and then figured out, wow, how transparent it is. And it's like, wait a minute, we don't need to subpoena banks and get bank records and stuff like that. And, once you get the FBI in there and they open up the doors and they put some of the brightest minds in the world figuring this stuff out, okay, I can promise you that, the transparency is there. And the feds got to love it now. They got to love it, because if people go down that road, it's just going to make it so easy for them to get caught.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're misrepresenting things. I mean, you're just going to get caught if that's the chance, Yeah.
They thought they had it with the SWIFT system, which is what the banks use now, the international wire system. But then you got people involved, and there's always stuff that people can do to break.
People just don't put in the right forms for the KYC, or they just look the other way with different things. The blockchain is not going to look the other way. I mean, it's going to have rules, and if the rules are this, then you have to do this, and this, for the transaction to get completed.
Well, yeah, and that's why you see these headlines. Bitcoin whale moved $40 billion worth of Bitcoin from one wallet to another wallet. Well, we don't know why, what, or how, or who, but we do know that happened. And is it meaningful? Maybe. Maybe they just had liked a better wallet and wanted to put it up in a different wallet. Who knows? And that's the beauty part of the blockchain too, because it like we've been talking about, it has no emotion, it has no alternative agenda. It does what it's programmed to do, and it's very simple what it's programmed to do, and that's it.
Yeah, it can't be manipulated by outsiders. It can't get leveraged.
Right.
Oh, I got something on you. I mean, you can't leverage you or anything like that. It's just so powerful. And I think people, once you really understand how powerful it is and all the ramifications from it, it's going to make it so much easier to run businesses, so much easier to be successful. And like we talked about the other day, in 10 years, I mean, I don't think anybody's going to be starting any businesses that aren't fully on the blockchain. If they are, you're probably going to kind of go, well, how come you're doing that?
Yeah.
It's
if you this would be an interesting exercise for those of you that are interested. Go out there and go to the Blockchain Explorer. Just type in Blockchain Explorer into a search engine, and it'll tell you the link. And look at how many addresses, how many wallet addresses are out there, and look over time if they're growing or they're consolidating. And I think you'll find, in fact, I know this for a fact, that they're growing. So there's not, you might say, well, what if one person takes over control of it? It's virtually impossible to do that. And they put it, there's actually, there's actually safeguards inside the code to make sure that somebody doesn't accumulate too much in one place. And so that means that we talked about adoption rate, right?
Mm-hmm.
That means the adoption rate is growing, and that's proof behind the scenes that the adoption rate really is growing as there's more and more addresses added. The address is growing, and then look at the length of time that the coin stays in those addresses. You'll notice that graph is also growing. So people are buying it and holding it, and there's trillions coming in. So, in your mind, if you're critically thinking about this, what does that mean? If there's trillions coming in that want to buy, and all the buyers are buying and holding longer and longer and longer,
right?
Supply and demand comes into play heavily, and the only thing to do is price going up. And there's a scarcity involved too. There's only 21 million of them, and there's an end of that in less than 20 years.
Right. It's like we were talking about yesterday. One of the Kansas City Chiefs has taken his entire salary in this season in Bitcoin, and he's doing it because he knows that if he, and he said it's a long-term play. He says, if I hold on to my money and I hold on to the cash that I get for this thing in 20 years, whatever kind of annuity, what could that possibly be worth in 20 years? Okay. He's going to make like $900,000. I think he's going to make this year. And it's like,
yep.
But the Bitcoin, I don't think that any expert in the world could tell you that that's not going to, in 20 years, that Bitcoin is going to be worth a lot amount more money.
Yeah, there's predictions from 100 million to 1 trillion per coin. So who knows? So those numbers are awesome. They're fine with me.
We love them.
1 million is awesome. And I think it's going to hit 1 million in the soon. Not weeks, but in the very near future.
Well, I can tell you from the, you and I were both early adopters. We were in this thing, a few years back when, I remember 4 years ago, when I was doing some consulting work and getting paid in Bitcoin, and I had a hard time sleeping because the markets were just so volatile,
yeah,
with the ups and the downs, and it's like, I sleep so much better at night now because it's, we have hit adoption. We are seeing this take hold. And I mean, you just got to really, when the industry the way you and I do, you've just got to really believe a couple of things for sure. Okay. Bitcoin is definitely an amazing place to store value. Okay. Mm-hmm. Just unbelievable place to store value. And, it's just amazing. I mean, this again, algorithmic scarcity. They don't have it in stocks. Stocks. Mark Cuban says, he goes, I go in on Shark Tank, and he says, and I make a deal to buy 10% of the company. He says, and then they go back and then they reissue more stock, and now I am diluted. Now I own less. I mean, I think everybody in the stock market wishes that there was algorithmic scarcity.
Yeah. And it's easy to do. With the company that I'm a CTO of, that's how we raised funds. It's all in the blockchain, and there's no dilution. You get a piece of the action, and it's paid out automatically through the blockchain, and it's a loan situation. It's kind of like a convertible note, but it's all inside the blockchain. And our lawyers, like when we presented it to him, he's like, "Wow, I've never seen this before." It's based on something that is commonly used in the stock world, a convertible note. But when he went through it and added the blockchain stuff to it and made sure it has defendable positions, because there's some gray areas still that the law is not fully developed in it. So we made it where it's the cleanest possible, the most defendable as possible, and he wrote it up to where he feels good that if it ever gets challenged, he can defend it. And it was a very simple contract, which is hilarious. And then we just converted that into the blockchain, and it was not something that was real strenuous to do. The legal part was the hardest part, and it was an important part, but it was the hardest part of the whole thing. But the reason why I'm telling you this is you can take any idea and implement it in this and get it automated. And as far as raising funds, it's going to be very simple because everything's right there, out in the open. I mean, a venture capitalist, they look at the people, right? They look at if they're invested in the people more than an idea. Can this person, this group, this team pull this idea off? Right. And a lot of it is the people. and then if they do pull it off, are they going to represent and report it properly so we can get our gains back? And so that's why those contracts are this thick, because they're, they want to protect themselves. Blockchain could basically make it very easy, saying the revenue goes through the blockchain and it automatically gets split the way that whatever the contract says. Simple.
Right. Yeah, you get so many companies out there. Remember the old accounting frauds that would go on. CEOs, fortunately and unfortunately, a lot of them their salaries and compensation is tied to stock performance.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Stock performance is typically tied to numbers. Okay, in the world of math that we live in. And, it's no secret. There's a lot of times when the numbers don't look good, a couple weeks before they were going to report, and the CEO's calling in the head accountant guy going, okay, what do we got to do to these numbers to make the numbers right? And how do we hit our numbers? Okay. You can't do that on the blockchain. It's just all right there. It's going to be like, your performance is your performance, and it is what it is. And you're not going to be able to go in and backdate things and change things and mess things around, like you could in a typical thing. And that's, thinking about that from a Stockwell. I saw one of the a big name. I can't think of it right now, but he said he's pretty much getting rid of most all of his stocks, and he's kind of moving towards this, just from the simple thing. You can't have somebody in a business go screw up your investment,
Right.
And that can happen tremendously with a lot of things out there.
Yeah. So, if you're an entrepreneur, small business person that has inkling that want to do something, reach out to us. We can, run it by us. We'll give you our opinion on things. Put it, contact us through the website, our emails, however you can, and let us know. We're here to help. We're here to educate. And we're here to help us and you be successful to earn while you're learning in this blockchain world.
Yeah, we've got some things we're going to be, hopefully, we're just putting the final touches on it here tomorrow. Would be today, but I'm actually playing with golf today, so won't be able to get it done. Got to have those priorities straight, right?
Right.
But yeah, we're going to have some really cool things where, Doug and I are going to be working with a small group of people here. We're going to set a date for this training here. Probably 5 or 6 weeks out, and it's going to be an amazing, life-changing kind of training for the people that get to go through it all with us. And we're going to really practically take you hand by hand and show you how you can earn, and you will earn while you're learning with what we're doing. So
yeah, absolutely,
really exciting. Anything else you got today that you want to hit today, Doug?
That's it, man.
All right,
another
guys.
Exciting day in the Bitcoin world.
All right, man. Till tomorrow. We'll see you guys tomorrow.